Hi, and welcome to Night at the Movies. I am the Smark Knight. And tonight, Smark Knight Movies, you can obviously guess, it's me at the movies, and tonight I'm going to be reviewing the new Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Uh, we might have some spoilers, but I'll warn you before we get to the spoilers. Even though, it's been out for a bit now, you probably should have gone and seen it. It's probably going to top this week's going to kick King Arthur's ass because King Arthur sucks. It sucks. Do not waste your time on that movie. If you like movies where it seems like the editor fell asleep and just like, what? Oh man, I gotta just do. It's 120 minutes. Go, 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 let's go. Then King Arthur is for you. And so is the Suicide Squad. But speaking of the Suicide Squad, it's been a while since I watched the first Guardians. And so, having watched the Suicide Squad, I knew it was an inferior version of Guardians. Like, I knew it was trying to be that. But having watched the Guardians Volume 2, I can definitely see it quite evident right away what Suicide Squad was trying to do and why. But again, the poor editing of Suicide Squad kills whatever they were trying to do. Where in Guardians in Volume 2, talking about Guardians Volume 2, uh, every song that was played during a scene, it made sense, right? Like it fits. You didn't question why that song was there. It was like a natural progression of things. It felt right. It wasn't like if you go out to see Suicide Squad, it literally felt like they just thought like, who's hot right now? What's their top song? Put it in the scene. Put it in the scene. Put it in the scene. Just put it in the scene. People are dumb. They won't question it. Just put it in the scene. And that's how you get a good album. That's why the Suicide Squad soundtrack did as well as it did, but it didn't make sense in the movie. And so Suicide Squad. I got Suicide Squad in the brain. Sorry. It that movie really stays with you for all the wrong reasons. Unlike Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which stays with you for all the right reasons. The long and short of it, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Volume 2, is great. Is it better than the first one? Not really. Because usually when there's a sequel, the sequel tries to outdo the first movie, right? I mean, right away you could like, for example, I would use would be Age of Ultron, Avengers: Age of Ultron, where right away in Age of Ultron we started with an action scene, pretty sweet action scene, but you could tell right away like we must top the first Avengers movie. Uh, And when the movie starts, spoilers, but they kind of gave the scene in the trailers. It opens up, and that scene that's in the trailers where they fight that big octopus squid thing. And I just got flashbacks of the Age of Ultron movie. I was like, oh, they're gonna do the Age of Ultron thing. We're gonna go straight to the action, and we're gonna go from there. But no, they did it their own way, and it made it work so well that I, when I saw it, I was about to complain. I was like, oh, really? And then when I saw it play out, it was masterful. Again, I'm not going to go into spoilers right away, but I was supposed to say this. Baby Groot can bust a move under any conditions. He is a dancing fiend, and he will not be stopped. That's all I'll say. But leave it to Guardians. You have something someone has done before, and they just tweak it, and it's something new. And that's when you know someone's good at their job. Mr. Gunn, you are fantastic, my good sir. And I'm saying that now because he is, but as we go on to the review, there are going to be some nitpicks I'm going to have about it. And, well, it is a review. We're going to get to spoilers later because, I don't want to ruin the movie for you, and I want to give you a nice, what I thought of it. Like I said, the movie's good. It's it felt to me like it wasn't trying to top the first movie. After I was done watching the movie, it felt like it was an episode two. Like I'm watching a series named Guardians of the Galaxy, and I had to wait a while, but episode two came out, and we're progressing a story. If that makes sense. It didn't feel like a sequel. It felt like episode two. And there's five post-credit scenes, and let's let's say two give an insight of what's going to happen in the next movie. Maybe even three. Yeah, I'm not sure. There's one with spoilers. If you care about post-credit scene spoilers, what may or may not play a part in anything. Spoilers. One of the post-credit scenes. Spoilers. I've told you. Don't get angry at me. Features Sylvester Stallone, which I don't know if that, based on the post-credit scene, it looks like they're might continue the story, or it's just like, yeah, I was here. It's yeah, like that's kind of how it felt. Like it's not really gonna lead to anything. Just we had Stallone. Here he is. We had to pay him money. We're gonna use him again. But out of the post credit scenes, only two of them felt like, oh, stay tuned. Next episode's gonna be maybe even better. Like we might have some closure. Cause I don't know if they're gonna stop after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I hope not, because I really love Guardians. Uh, like I said, it felt like not like a sequel, but an episode two. If that makes sense. But yeah, if you if you've gone along this far, you've probably seen the movie, and if you haven't, go see it. For me, when it comes in the pantheon of all the Marvel movies, my number one's Winter Soldier, number two, Civil War, three Avengers, the first Avengers movie, four the original Guardians, and Volume Two is number five. And it beats out almost every other Marvel movie. And you can say, oh, the first two Captain America movies are your top two. Well, I'm biased towards Captain America, but I'm also biased towards Thor, and it totally mops the floor with both Thor movies. It's better than Doctor Strange. It's better than the Iron Mans, even though I'd argue that Iron Man 1's below Guardians 2, being the number 6 movie. But it's better than all the Iron Man movies, better than the Thor movies. It's better than Ultron. It's better than Ultron. Uh, so yeah, it's a solid film. Go watch it, and um I might get into spoilers now. More than likely, I will get into spoilers. So yeah, go watch it. And if you've watched it, stick around. I'm gonna dissect it, see what you think. In the comments, and tell me what you think because I'm gonna give you my opinions in it. Uh, so here we go. Spoilers after this. If you've watched it, stick around. If you haven't watched it and you want to know what happens, you won't be surprised. You're more than welcome to. So here we go. Spoilers. Three, two, one. Spoilers from here on out. In-depth movie review. That was our last chance. So like I said earlier, we the movie's about the Guardians. It starts out the Guardians had to beat this squid thing because they were hired by Aisha to protect the battery supply. And they beat the squid thing. I will say this: Dave Batista, yet again steals the show. He steals the show, and maybe Groot gave him his best shot, but Batista just That man deserves more. He deserves more. He deserves to be more than what he is. And I hope that he does, because now he's doing Blade Runner, he did a James Bond movie, but he deserves way more because as Drax, the man is fantastic. And as a this is a wrestling page too. It's a wrestling page. It's a movie page. It's a comics page because look what I got here. I got my Guardians of the Galaxy Guardians disassembled. Just to show my cred. It could occasionally be a comic page. And not to be outdone, I got my Howard the Duck first appearance of the Gwenpool. See, there she is over here, bottom corner. So it's a lot of pages, a lot of taste in this page, and a lot of people want Batista to come back to WWE, and no, please go without WWE. He's a great actor. He steals the show yet again. The man's fantastic, and he starts off right away in that opening scene where Drax's idea is like, we can't breach the skin of this monster. Screw it, I'm gonna jump into this thing and stab it from the inside out. It's just amazing. And so they inevitably, Gamora saves the day in, you know, a combination of attacks, but eventually Gamora gives the fatal blow to this squid thing, and they stop they stop the monster who's trying to steal the battery packs, and they save the day. And it turns out that their payment for saving the day was Nebula. Nebula was trying to steal from them. They held her captive, and I guess Gamora, well, okay, we'll do this. Just give me back my sister, and they wanted to get her so they could turn her in for the bounty. And along the way, Rocket, he decided it's a fantastic idea to steal from Aisha and her people, because that's a fantastic idea, and they don't take it very well. And as they're leaving, they get attacked. They get attacked, and lo and behold, they get saved by a mysterious figure. It turns out that that mysterious figure is Peter Quill's father, which, you know, again, spoilers, you're already here in the spoiler section. Uh, his father is Ego, the living planet, a celestial. A celestial. I can't say the word. Celestial. You know what I said? I'm trying to get. Celestial. There you go. Celestial. Saves the day. Who, we get a little backstory on who he is and his mom. Peter doesn't believe him. He's like, fine, if you don't believe me, come with me, and I'll show you. I'll show you my planet, where I'm from. We meet Mantis, which Mantis is great. She's great too. She's like the number three on the characters that built the show. Like, she's new. We needed to make her count, and they made her count, and she's great. And it's, again, we were in the spoiler section, so for anyone who watched the movie, you might have a budding romance between Drax and Mantis, which I hope it happens. Drax deserves a happy ending, especially since in both the comics and the movie continuity, Thanos destroys his life, wife, and daughter. So Drax deserves a bit of a happy ending. If it's Mantis, I'd be so happy, and you'd have all my money. I'd watch that. This it's just a rom-com between Drax and Mantis. Yes. So yeah, we meet Ego and all that. Peter says fine, he doesn't trust him, but Gamora, tells him, if he's evil, we'll kill him because that's what they do. And that was my argument. I was like, Peter, go, you know, but you can't handle bad people. And then she says that, like, oh, we'll kill him. Like, there you go. And so Peter says, yeah. Him and Gamora and Drax go. Um, the Milano, it got destroyed during the attack, and it crash landed on this planet. So Rocket, Nebula, and Groot stay behind because Nebula's their captive, and Groot, Groot's gonna be adorable. That's all he does. and Rocket's gonna stay behind and try to fix the ship. And everyone's pissed at Rocket because, well, pissed at each other, but mostly pissed at Rocket, and Rocket's just being an asshole throughout the movie. And so he's gonna stay behind and fix the ship. And as it turns out, we go to this, they go, and then we flash to the Ravagers. We see Yondu, know, having some fun. It's just insinuated that he had some lady robot of the night fun. And as it turns out, Sly Stallone is the leader of all the Ravagers. And they're not happy that Yondu. And first you think, oh, they're not happy that Yondu, saved the day. He's a hero. Turns out they're not happy that Yondu helped facilitate, you know, the taking of children. They made a point of that. We steal, but we don't steal children. You're out of the Ravagers, and the rest of the crew overhears that. Yondu's a bit broken up about that because these people are his friends. They're just, they there's a history with them, and they tell him if you die, there you won't be there. There won't be. I forgot exactly how he said it, but your colors will not be Ravager colors. Basically, you will not die a Ravager. Foreshadow, foreshadow, foreshadow. And then Aisha shows up not before there's some dissent in between the ranks. Yes, and they're not happy that, oh, now that we're not Ravagers anymore, we're not associated with them, and since when do we play hero, right? So they're not happy, and then Aisha shows up and apparently offers up a bounty for the Guardians, and so then we fly. So therefore, now the Ravagers are gonna go get the Guardians, and so Peter, Drax, and Gamora are in Ego's ship on the way to the planet, and we get some backstory with Mantis. We advance some story with Peter and Gamora, and we get a little bit of backstory about Ego. Just a tiny bit. We don't get all of it. We just get like, oh, he can't sleep because he stays up all night, thinking about his progeny, about Peter. And Mantis uses her powers. She's an empath, and she can feel the people's feelings. That's one of the scenes that's in the trailers where she touches Peter. It's like, oh, you have romantic feelings. You have sexual feelings for her. And Drax just loses his shit again. Dave Bautista, give him all the money. He's fantastic. And she also reveals that now on top of being an empath, she can, influence people's feelings. They can feel one way, and she can make them feel a different way. That's why she helps Ego go to sleep. He can control him, just touch him and sleep, and he'll go to sleep. And so again, foreshadow, foreshadow, foreshadow. So they arrive on the planet. It's a beautiful planet, and yeah, it's great visuals. It's some would now some people argue that too much CGI can ruin a film, and there are points in the movie where it would feel like the CG it's CGI crap, like CGI throw up, like someone coined that phrase when talking about truly CGI disaster going Green Lantern. But like I said, like it's like the music in Guardians, it just fits. You don't question it, like it fits. Like there's a scene in the climax which is basically all CG, but it fits. Like you don't like it's not like even like that middle climax in Civil War, where they're where Team Stark and Team Rogers beating the crap out of each other, and Robert Downey's like ahead with CG all over him, right? No, it just feels right. And there's this really cool scene at the end. I'm not skipping ahead, but if spoilers, if you're still sticking around and if you're still sticking around and listening to this, great. But spoilers, super spoilers, because I just don't want to hate. I'm just really trying to make sure here. There's that scene in the climax of Guardians with Kurt Russell, and he has gone through some stuff to this point in the movie because, as it turns out, I know I'm skipping way ahead of the point of where I am, but as it turns out, Ego is a bad guy. He has ulterior motives, and so he gets, justly so, gets the crap kicked out of him, and so he gets his physical form because again he's a celestial, he's a living planet. He created this planet because he's just what he thought organic life was, and so he created the whole planet. He created himself this vessel to hold him, which is what we see is Peter's father. And so he goes from this like celestial form and starts slowly gaining a body. Like he goes from this like a blue outline that's filled in. Because looks like a nervous system and a brain, and then starts slowly growing tissue as he walks and menaces into inevitably just being Peter's father again, like full flesh. And like it's just an incredible scene. It's great CG. I love that scene. I love it. But yeah, that planet looks great. It's it's no Green Lantern. And when they're over at the Green Lantern planet, which I know what it's called, but it's escaping me. So don't say like, "Oh, you're a Marvel fanboy." No, I love Marvel and DC equally. I just wish DC got their shit together. But yeah, they're on the planet, and then Rocket's still at the planet, at the other planet we they just left them. He's trying to fix the ship, but then the Raptors show up, and Rocket, being Rocket, just lays up a bunch of traps, set a perimeter, starts doing these wacky little Home Alone setups, like little traps, and it works well. But eventually he gets outnumbered, and then Yondu shows up, and again, if you're still watching, come on, man, go watch the movie. Me talking about it does it no justice. It's a great movie. Go watch it. And if you're still watching, you watched it. So I'm not gonna say spoiler alert anymore. I'm gonna keep going. So Yondu shows up, and it turns out Yondu isn't gonna turn over to Aisha, and they the rest of the Ravagers do not like that. So I mean, mutiny happens. Uh, Nebula manipulates Groot into letting her go. Nebula shows up, shoots Yondu's sweet metal mohawk off, and shoots Rocket. Pardon me. Shoots Rocket, and at that point, I don't know. It's like that was bad editing, or at that point, I thought that Nebula was going to be the new captain. It's like, I just took out your your current captain. You're having a mutiny. I'm taking over. But this is one of the problems I have with the movie. I don't know if you guys had the same problem. There were scenes where it could have just ended, but they just decided to go an extra 2 or 3 seconds longer and add a joke. Like that particular scene, Nebula just total badassery, shoots Yondu. Rocket's like, oh shit. He gets shot too, and Nebula, we see she was hungry, and we see her looking at this fruit, and before when she got captured, when she got turned over to the Guardians and they locked her up on the ship before everything happened and they crashed on that planet, it was like she sees this fruit. It was like, I'm hungry, give me some. Like, and Gamora's no, like no, you're an asshole. Like, no, we're turning you over. Stay locked up. And we see her show up here. Apparently, she got one of the pieces of fruit, bit into it just after shooting these dudes, and spits it out. It's not ripe. Okay? But why did we need to have that extra 2 seconds? Why wasn't that cut? Like, he just had a total badass moment, and they didn't cut it. And the same goes for a scene later on with Nebula again, where the mutiny happens. We flash back. Just stuff happens. More stuff happens over there at Ego. Nothing really that important. It's more story building between Gamora and Peter. Will they? Won't they? They reference Cheers. If you haven't watched Cheers, go watch Cheers. Fantastic show. One of my favorites. they reference will they, won't they? This modern equivalent would be New Girl with Jess and Nick or Ross and Rachel. He makes a reference to Cheers and that kind of relationship. Will Gamora and Peter Evan end up together? And so that happens, and a little bit of backstory into Drax, and this, again Batista just steals the show. He has a moment with Mantis, where she calls her ugly. You're hideous, and the way Batista delivers the line, it's great. And like, no, that's a good thing. That means you're beautiful on the inside. That means when someone loves you, they love you for you. Pretty people can't trust anybody. And I'm like, Batista, I love you, man. Drax, by extension, I love you too. A Drax spin-off, please. A little miniseries on ABC or Netflix. Just can we get some more Drax? And Mantis, you know, we get a little bit more of Drax's backstory, and you know, like I said earlier, Drax is a bit of a sad backstory. Thanos, you know, tells a little story about his daughter, and he starts breaking up. He starts, you know, get choked up, and Mantis, being an empath, she touched him, and she could feel his pain, which I guess moved something inside of her, and she's like, I gotta tell you something, Drax, and began to write to by Gamora, which which you could tell just by the sound, like, oh, something not right's happening here, and that's like Gamora's whole shtick throughout being on that planet. I was like, Peter, this is too good to be true, man. Peter was like, just being a dick. Like, first of all, you told me that I should go, and now you're telling me I should leave? Make up your mind. It's like, I finally have a family. Gosh. And then Gamora just hits him with I thought you already found your family in the Guardians. So it's like, I don't know who's a dick here. Like, you're both being dicks. But anyway, Gamora enters that scene, and I think, again, I'm getting mixed up here. I'm just going to skip around a bit, but we go to the Ravagers on the Ravager ship, and Rocket's tied up, Groot's in the cage, Yondu's tied up, which I thought he was dead for a second. Like before I watched the movie, like I heard like, oh, Yondu dies. It's like, oh, they killed him off that fast? No, the guy could just lose a part of his head and still be alive. He's just out of it. And they're dragging one of the Ravagers that are his crew members that are on Yondu's side, and they're dragging him into the airlock, and they release him into outer space, and we see him die a slow death. Foreshadow. You see him die and just drift out into space, ice covering. And it's a sweet scene because he floats out, and then we go to the side angle, and we just see a bunch of other people. Like, he floats out, and then we go to side angle, and we see like a bunch of other people just floating next to him. Like a ton of other people. Like, oh, they've killed a lot of people. Weren't you friends a couple seconds ago? Like, I'm pretty sure just yesterday you guys broke bread. Like, you guys are assholes. You're all assholes. And Taserface apparently is the captain. That's what's shocking. It's like, wait, Nebula isn't the captain? Okay, and then uh, Rocket. He's not a raccoon, goddammit. He might be a triangle-faced monkey, according to Ego, which is a great line. Uh, but yeah, Rocket just starts tearing Taserface apart. It's like, really? That's the name you went with? And Nebula breaks it up, which I thought, oh, she is the captain. Like, no, she's leaving. Yeah, turn these guys in, give me 10%. And she takes out to leave. This is, again, where a scene was, like, so serious. I didn't need the little extra oomph joke thing. Uh, I guess, I forgot his name already. Gandu's number 2, I guess. Like, eventually, he turns face again. He becomes a good guy again, and like helps Yondu escape the rest of the Ravagers. But he goes with Nebula, and she's about to leave. I was like, yeah, turn these guys in, give him 10%. I'm just go and give coordinates to Ego. I'm gonna go finish off Gamora. and we get some a little bit more backstory into her. Like they talk, and mostly it's like, hey, so what are you gonna do with your cut? And Nebula goes on to give some backstory. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go get Gamora. She was my sister, and I'm gonna go get Gamora. I'm gonna go get Thanos, and it's like this really intense backstory. Like Nebula, the only reason Nebula is like Nebula is like Thanos made her and Gamora fight every day, and Gamora would just beat her up every day, like beat her every day, and eventually Thanos, he wanted her to be equal to Gamora. And so every time Nebula lost, it's a great backstory. Like I loved it. It's like, oh my God, Nebula, let me hug you. Like, like let me comfort you in some way. That is really screwed up. Like every time she would lose, Thanos would take something from her, like a body part, and replace it with a robot, like something robotic, because he wanted her to be the best, and he wanted her to beat Gamora, because he wanted two great warriors. But every day she would go up against Gamora, and she would lose. And another body part would get ripped from her and replaced by another robotic part. And it's a really intense scene. Like just giving backstory, and like, oh my God, poor Nebula. And she says, like to finish it off, it's like, I'm gonna kill Thanos slowly, just to slowly tear him apart, just so they can feel the way I felt. I was like, wow, that's great. Like you could end the scene there, and then we go for the funny, which is what everyone blames Marvel of doing. Like you always tell a joke. It did not need a joke at the end of the scene. Yondu's number two. It's like, oh, I meant, what you're gonna do with the money, as in buy yourself a nice hat, a necklace, a nice dress or something. And I just thought, come on, man, come on. You can give Nebula this one. I mean, if you really wanted to go for something else, like a little extra on top of that, you didn't need him to go. Like, oh, I meant like buy an extra hat or a necklace, or yeah. You could have just had him like you pan back to him, and he's like, okay, end scene. Or you could have had him, good luck with that. Like there was no need to tell this joke and just had to keep going. I was like, no, no. And so I got a text. And again, if you're new watching this, there's no editing here. It's all live. We edit. There's no editing. Live. F it. Live. Don't write it, and we'll do it live. Um, but yeah, and Nebula takes off. Mm, I am blanking out what happens to the rest of the movie. All right, we cut back. I think we stay with the Ravagers. Uh, Poor Groot. I felt so sorry for Groot because there was a scene where they just treated him like crap. It was funny because uh, they locked him up in the brig, Rocket and Yondu, and they asked Taserface, so what do we do with the tiny one? Like, I can't kill him. He's too cute. Take him to the tailor. And so they dress him up in this cute little outfit, but they kick him around. They just cut to them kicking him around, pouring like space beer on him, just trying to piss him off, and just like, oh, he's so cute when he's angry, and just like kick him around. And we get some more backstory on Yondu, and well, while he's locked up in a brig, and then we see Groot show up, like just all depressed, his head down, like I just got kicked around, those assholes. And then they use him to break out. It's a great little scene. I like it. It's like you want to do like, I need you to go into my room, the captain's quarters. There's this stand. There's a drawer. You open it. It has this new cybernetic fin. I need you to get that for me. And it's like a great like back and forth. Like Groot just keeps bringing like random things that are not the fin, and eventually the guy I just mentioned earlier, Groot's number two. I mean, Yondu's number two, who told Nebula, "I met in that hat or whatever." Like he's like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cause a mutiny. I didn't mean to get all of her friends killed. Here's your fin." And so just as an awesome scene where I don't know, where Rocket's like into having music being played, like they get out, it's like, hey, any chance you have any of some old Quill's music? Play that stuff, and it's like a great scene. Yondu destroys everybody with that sweet arrow. Uh, this is a great scene, and the scene ends like they destroy Taserface, but before Taserface dies in an explosion because uh, he aims his arrow. Like Taserface is coming. He's just basically killed everyone with that arrow. It's a great scene. And then like he aims it at Taserface, but he doesn't really aim it at Taserface. He's aiming what's behind Taserface, which is I guess like the fuel cell of the ship, and it starts blowing up. And Rocket's like, "What are you doing? You crazy?" It's like, "No, like I have a plan." And so apparently their ship is two ships. Like it detaches from the like a smaller ship detaches from the main ship, and so it starts detaching, and Taserface is on fire, and he contacts the Aegis people, and he's like, "I'm giving you the coordinates to Ego. And when you find the Guardians and kill them, make sure you tell them who's behind their death. It was Taserface." And the chick on the other end just starts losing her shit. And so poor Taserface, even in death, he gets no respect. He dies with someone laughing at his face because he chose Taserface as his name. And so the scene ends with uh, Yondu, Groot, Rocket, and dude whose name I keep forgetting. Uh, they take off, and Rocket says, "We gotta set a course for Ego," and he sets the course for Ego, and Yondu's like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "Well, the way you talked about it, you said sounds like Ego's a bad guy." It's like, "Yeah, but we're gonna go through. You do know that it's unhealthy for the human body, like the body, to go through 50 jumps, because jumps is when you get through. There's like wormholes basically. You just go through them and just like end up at different places. Eventually, you end up at your place because that's how they got to the planet where they crash landed when they're being chased by Issa's people. There was a warp, and they went through it, and they ended up there at that planet crash landing. And Yandu was like, "Yeah, going through 50 warps is unhealthy." I was like, "Yeah, I know that. Ego 700 warps away. No!" And it might have been over the top, but I love that. Like just like start like faces elongating, like their body chemistry just being destroyed. It was great. It was great. A flashback to Ego, and Gamora left because they had that scene I mentioned earlier. Like, we were your family. She takes off, and you just see this thing. There's this plane at a distance, ship at a distance, and it's Nebula, and she's just firing away at her. And somehow Gamora has this thing like she just stays one step ahead of it. She cannot get shot because she got shot at a lot. Either that or Nebula's a terrible shot. And so she just keeps getting shot. She just keeps diving over things, falls into this canyon, and keeps running. And she eventually ends up in this cave, like this big opening. And then Nebula is a crazy, psychotic, homicidal chick, cyborg chick, just goes through the tunnel, and like Gamora's running, and the ship keeps coming at her, shooting and shooting. And eventually the ship just crashes and hits the end of the road, and the end of the tunnel, and the ship loses its cannons, its machine gun turret, or whatever, and Gamora just picks it up, big old gun, and just walks and just starts shooting at Nebula's ship. Like, you shoot at me, I shoot at you. And I guess these guns are made by the same people that make Stormtrooper guns, because she kept shooting at her directly. Like, my camera is Nebula, I'm Gamora. Right here, straight, did not move. She was hitting her right on. Nebula was in the ship getting hit, but yet none of them hit the part of the ship where she was located. I mean, she was sitting on her chair, that little nice, you know, windshield, I guess, like little orb, so you could see out, and all the bullets were hitting it, but they were just like just bouncing off, or just this thing was like bulletproof glass or something, tempered glass, or whatever it is. And eventually, like the cave falls from underneath her, and then Nebula gets trapped. And Gamora, being a hero, she goes to save Nebula, pulls out Nebula from the wreckage, and Nebula just beating the crap out of Gamora. And Gamora had the same reaction I had, like, really? She just saved her life, and you're gonna beat the crap out of her, okay? And she beats the crap out of her, and Nebula has Gamora in a chokehold, like she's just choking her, and has her knife out, about to stab her, and she decides not to. And we get I guess, some more backstory between both of them. We get some character building, which again, it was great. They didn't cut up the joke this time, which finally. Some more backstory that Gamora's like, why do you always have to try to kill me? Like, why do you always have to win? It's like, why do I always have to win? Like, Gamora, you're the one who always tried to win. It's like, what are you talking about? You're the one, like, every day we fought each other. Thanos made us fight each other, and you won every day. He tore pieces from me. Like, you're my sister. He tore pieces from me. He tore my brain out of my skull. She says that. He tore the brain out of my skull. And you still had to win every day. And there's like a great little scene, like, I guess, like all brothers and sisters, like you have a fight, they're like, okay, we're good. They were good after that. And while all this is happening, uh, Ego is having this conversation with Peter, like showing him his grand master plan. Like, I'm gonna a celestial. Can't say the word celestial. And uh, I don't. Again, I don't know why we every movie has to have a stupid villain, but this is where Ego became stupid. He showed Peter that Earth was not the first place he showed up, because he was going through every planet and dropping like a little seed or something. Double entendre, if you know, we've seen the movie. Oh, he dropped a seed. No, like he's like the flower thing. We see it at the beginning of the movie, like this little thing he showed Peter's mom. It's like a little like flowery thing. But it turns out he's going through every planet, not only dropping that, but dropping kids. He loved many of women, no matter what alien planet they were from. He loved them, and it wasn't like He reminded me of the episode of Futurama, where the Cyclops, where Leela finally found another Cyclops in the world, because that's when she thought she was still an alien, and she finally found a Cyclops, and turns out the Cyclops was really a dude who just like dress up, who was a shapeshifter and would dress up as different aliens and just seduce their women, and just get married to them. It reminded me of that, but not really, because he seduced all these women in Terran form. As a human being, he seduced all these women and had sex with these women and birthed kids. I want to know what these kids look like. We don't see them. We see their skeletal remains, which then lead to what happens next. He tells them all this, and it turns, and I don't know why he does that. Like, again, stupid villain. And then he tells them, like, well, you loved my mother, right? Like, oh, I loved your mother. I loved her so much. I went to Earth 3 times, and I knew if I went back a fourth, I would stay because I loved your mother so much. That's it was hard for me to give her a tumor. He said that after showing Peter the meaning of life, apparently. Sorry, bit of a sniffles. Showing me Peter the meaning of life, asking for his help, and still went along with it because Peter's stupid too, I guess. Like, I thought you would love my mom. I was like, no, I loved your mom so much that I knew if I went a fourth time, I would say. So I gave her a tumor. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do. Which, of course, Peter, loving his mom, and if you see in the first Guardians, you know he really loves her, and it really broke him apart when she died. He went apeshit and started firing at him. Justly so. To which, to which Ego had the reaction, "What the hell, man? Like, really? You're the one who's gonna be indignant? You just told the man that you killed his mother. Where's our tumor? Like, you asshole." And so that's where the climax starts happening. Ego gets pissed. He he tries to use Peter as a because he's half celestial, so he's to use him as a battery to jumpstart um, this whole everything is ego. You know, reminding me of the Borg, every a hive mind type deal. So everything is ego, ego. The driving force for ego's plan is ego. Everything must be ego. And then he needed Peter as a battery pack, and we later find out Mantis, you know, Nebula and Gamora meet up with Mantis and Drax, and Mantis tells them, I was like what those bodies they ran into were. I was like, oh yeah, those were the bodies of the other kids that Ego had, and then we go to back to Ego and Peter. It's like none of them had the celestial gene. You do, Peter, and so that's why he wanted to use them as a battery pack. And so the the climax starts happening. Yondu and Rocket show up. The plant and they save the day, and they all board this little ship, like mining ship, which I thought, oh, isn't that a cool, just lovely how that just happens to be convenient that the ship's also a mining ship. And it turns out that in order to kill Ego, you must drill down to his core to kill his heart slash soul. What a coinky dink! The ship they're using is a mining ship. So they start digging to the middle of Ego for the planet to get to his core. They start digging at the core. Then it turns out Ace's people show up too, and it's like this firefight. And that's where that scene happens. We also have in the trailers the I am Groot. I am Groot. I'm Groot. No. We have that scene because they need that detonator, which is fueled by the battery pack, and they're gonna use it to blow up Ego. And which is I really like that I am Groot scene that I've seen a million times because Rocket's like, you know what, Peter, Quill, you got a piece of tape? It's like, why would I have tape? Like, can you? Hold on, let me go ask everybody. And he starts asking everybody, and it's great because he asked Drax. I was like, Drax, you have tape? It's like, no. Oh, and like Drax like, would duct tape do? I was like, yes, I think duct tape would do. I don't have any duct tape. Then why would you mention having duct tape? It's like, God damn you, Batista. God damn it. Like, you're awesome. And so Groot runs off the bomb. He goes to the even deeper core of Ego, trying to find Ego. And then there's this scene where this is how much I bought into the movie. I thought they were actually Ego was going to succeed. He all the Guardians like end up in these situations, uh, you know, where they could have died. It's like the all is lost moments. Uh, Yondu gets trapped in a pile of bricks. Groot, like Ego's, like crushing him. He's getting close to the center, like the brain we see when he's explaining everything. Like he has a brain just existed, and so he starts crushing him. And then Gamora fell, so Nebula saved her life, and Nebula like, don't mention it. And then like they're crawling back up, and then like Ego's, trapping him with his hentai tentacles, glowy hentai tentacles. Like he beats a lot of people up with those hentai tentacles. And then like he drops a bunch of bricks on Yondu, like taking him over. And then he again stabs Peter from behind with his tentacles, like shooting out through his chest. And then it's all this last moment, and I bought into it. I was like, oh god, I think I got this one. And then Yondu, because we found out like earlier that Peter has a celestial gene, so he can do celestial stuff like create things. And so Yondu tells him like, I don't use my head to power the arrow, I use my heart, and he gets takes over by the rocks. And at the same time, Yondu, Ego, his little seeds, they start taking over planets. And so, Earth is being overrun with this blobby mess, dark blue, looking like the Blob taking over stuff. And at that point, I was like, where are the Avengers? Like, where's Iron Man? I think he took over the the Avengers. Like, where are the secret Avengers? Like, I know Doctor Strange, Thor, Hulk are off planet, but where's Stark? Where's Ant Man? You know, like, who's left? Who's left? Vision. Where's Vision? Where the hell is Vision? You know, where's the containment on this? Like, where's Rogers, Scarlet Witch, Bucky? You know, Black Widow. Where the hell are they? Like, crowd control, something. Trying to figure something like, why is this blob taking over Missouri? This nice Dairy Queen in Missouri. But yeah, all this is happening all this last moment, and then Peter is like, gotta use my heart, and then like he starts using his own celestial powers, creating stuff. It's again, it could have been CGI mess, but it was great. They start fighting each other, and it distracts him long enough that he starts letting go. Gamora and Nebula get those hentai tentacles off their faces. Uh, Yondu starts taking breaks off of him, and at this point, Mantis had been knocked out because she had put him Ego to sleep with her sleeping powers, suggestion. No, that looked weird, like sleeping powers. Yes, no, no, no. But she got knocked out, and so Drax was taking her to the ship, the main ship, and he was taking her, and like I guess, Ego quicksand him, and he was holding up Mantis as he's drowning, and I guess Ego got distracted. Quicksand over. He got up, start running back to the ship, and so he's fighting Quill. Ego and Quill are fighting, and Groot attaches the bomb. Gotta go. Everyone's leaving, and Yondu decides to stay behind because the bomb's gonna go off, and everyone needs to go, but Yondu knows Peter has to stay to the end to distract Ego, or else the bomb's not gonna work. So he tells Rocket, um, I need you to leave me a spacesuit and a rocket pack. And it's a touching scene because earlier they had a great back and forth when they were leaving. They were still on the ship and they were leaving, and Rocket and Yondu had like this great moment, like why are you always such a jackass? And this great moment, like because you're scared, you're not because you want to push him away because it's easier to push him away than to feel love because you feel love, you just realize how empty you are inside. Like, this movie's great. It just made me run the gambit of emotions. Like so many emotions in this movie. I teared up a couple times. It's just a great freaking movie. And so they had that scene earlier, and so when they had this scene, yeah, it was just so great and heartbreaking. And like Groot like is on Rocket's shoulder as he's leaving, and Groot's like, "I am Groot." And like, what do you say? It's like that scene from the trailers. Welcome to the frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy, except without the frickin', which is another scene that had a joke that didn't need the joke. Like, we had the scene. That was the joke. The frickin' galaxy. And then Rocket takes off, and then just looks over to Groot. We really got to work on your language. It's like, no, we didn't really need that. Yeah, it was a good scene. Like a heart touching moment. And like Yondu's sacrificing himself for the greater good. Like you're sad about it. You really. Ah. But yeah, everyone leaves, and they're on the ship, and Rocket shows up. It's like, so where's Quill? Like Gamara's like, where's Quill? Where's Quill? It's like, no, I'm not losing him. He gets her gun, another big massive gun. It's like Gamara's overcomes things or something, but she's not a guy, so who knows? And then like Rocket shoots her and like electrocutes her, and like she gets taken down, and he's like, I'm sorry, but I'm not losing another friend. Which again, touching fucking scene. This movie's great. And he tells Drax, who's already inside upstairs with Yondu's number two, and he's like, close the doors. It's like, okay, but where's Quill? And like the doors are closing, and he's like, where's Quill? Where's Quill? and like they take off, and it's down to Peter and Ego being the crap out of each other, and he's holding down Ego. He's like, "No, we could be great together. Don't do this. Like you're a god. It's like, what are you without powers? Like you're just one of them." And then again, this a great scene. Like he'll just be one of them. And then Peter's like, "Would that be so bad?" And he goes like, "No!" The bomb goes off. Ego melts like he melts inside himself. It's like a sweet CGI. And then the planet explodes, like imploding. And then Yondu rescues Quill, and they're leaving. They're going to the stratosphere. And Yondu puts the spacesuit on Quill, and then Quill gets a little bit knocked out. And like, wait, like Yondu, don't do this. Yeah, right before he says don't do this, this is like this nice again makes you feel. And you have father issues. Oh my god, that scene will destroy you. Uh, Yondu, like he might have been your father, but he sure wasn't your daddy. And they have this like nice touching scene, like all along, like he was his father. Like it's just a great scene. And of course, Yondu dies. He sacrifices over Peter, and we have the funeral on the ship, and it was a great closure, like closure, but not closure because it leave it open. But Rocket's sad about what happened, and then like, oh my God, they came, and he runs back, like, and they go to like the viewing, again, this is another just exposed glass, just like a viewing thing, and all the Ravagers show up and just start, like, I guess doing like the Ravager thing when Ravagers die, like shooting fireworks or torpedoes or rockets or something that light up, and it's just a great scene because it just shows it's a great character growth between everybody, and it has a nice little scene with Gamora and Peter, and, like she like puts his arm over her. It's like, so what's going on? It's like, if I mention it, then it's like a great callback against Sam and Diane thing. Like throughout the movie, Groot had been a bit of a dick towards Drax, and like before Gamora, had her scene with Peter, like Groot's like give it to Drax, and like Drax is just like has him right here, and like Groot's going to sleep. And it's like a nice touching scene, funny scene too. Like it's touching with him and Mantis. It was great, and then like Rocket's just looking up at them, like has a nice scene with like a nice little thing with Peter too, and it was just a great movie. All in all, like we end on Rocket saying his thing with Peter, having like little conversations, like back and forth. Like I'm an asshole because I'm scared and all, like yeah, and like just Rocket looking out at the nice like firework looking stuff. It again just felt like, oh, we're setting up for the next one, whatever it is. Maybe that might show up in Thor or just Infinity Wars. But okay, if you're watching this, I need to know: was one of the Ravagers Hela? It's the main villain of the next Thor movie. She looked like Hela. I don't know about you guys, but if she was or wasn't, just let me know in the comments. I need to know. I need to know. Because it's gonna drive me crazy. Like I waited for the credits to see if it was her, and I didn't see her name. But again, apparently Jeff Goldblum was in that movie too, but uncredited. So I didn't see Jeff Goldblum. But yeah, but that was a movie. It was great. Like I said, it's in my top 6 movies. Go watch it. I can't recommend it enough. I honestly can't wait for the next because the post credit scenes. One of them was Yondu's number 2. Playing with the arrow. Like Peter Quill kept his arrow. Was like, here, he'd want you to have this. Oh, it's like one of my favorite scenes. Like, oh yeah, like Yondu got you this in case you ever came back, and it's a Microsoft Zune. As someone who had a Microsoft Zune instead of an iPod, that made me so happy. This is as a joke, and as someone who uses Zune, because someone has Zune, I know how much of a joke a Zune was. It was it's like it holds 300 songs. It's like 300 songs, And so like Peter gives him like here, he would want you to have it like his arrow. And so the post-credit scene, first post-credit scene is like him messing around with it and stabbing Drax. So again, Batista, give him all the money. And the next credit scene is Aisha teasing like oh the people are gonna be angry at me like her I guess servant or assistant whatever it's like oh they're gonna be mad at me or something and like but I have the next stage of evolution and she's looking up and it's a pod the next cocoon like he's gonna be more beautiful than all of us he'll be perfect I shall call him Adam which if you don't read comic books Adam Warlock people Adam freaking Warlock finally which I hope for Infinity War but no, but we're finally getting him. Volume 3, more than likely, yes. And then we had to see what the Ravagers after that. Oh, we had the Ravagers scene before that. It's just Stallone. We get a closer look at the woman who I think is Hela, and just like at the tease that I don't know if they might show up in Volume 3 or they're gonna do their own thing. I don't know. And then we had Teenage Groot just being a dick to Peter. And it's like now I know how Yondu felt. And the last post-credit scene we as they were going through warps, Yondu and Rocket, one of the planets they see is like the Watchers and Stan Lee. And so anyway, did I tell you about the time I was a FedEx guy, alluding to Civil War? And so the last post scene is the Watchers like have had enough of Stan Lee, so they're walking away from Stan Lee. Like, wait, guys, what am I gonna do? I need a ride. I have more stories. Oh man, it was just great. And so ends Guardians of the Galaxy. They'll be back for Volume 3. Uh, Maybe they'll be back for Thor. We already have Doctor Strange showing up. We have Hulk showing up. We might have had Hela show up in this movie. Again, comment if it is her or not. Uh, they're gonna show up in Infinity. I can't wait for Infinity War. I can't wait to watch Thor because again, I'm biased towards Thor, and so I really want to see this movie. Hopefully, it doesn't end the Thor trilogy. Uh, yeah. So I don't know what my next review is gonna be. I gotta hold on. Let me check what the next movie's gonna be released this weekend. Uh, Let me check. Let me check. Let me check. That's so good, la la be. That's so good, la la be. That's so good, la la be. And have ourselves a treat. And let's see what's coming out this weekend. And well, Alien Covenant's next week. So we're definitely gonna review that next week. Um, I kind of reviewed King Arthur already, so I guess that leaves me off the hook for this watching anything this weekend. But definitely next weekend I will be reviewing Alien Covenant, so stay tuned for that. Um, Thank you so much for watching my first night at the movies with the Smark Knight me. You can follow me on the Instagram or the Twitter at AJ the 500, AJ then number 500. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, subscribe. If you want me to watch a particular movie, drop it in the comments. You know, liking and subscribing does help, especially since I'm starting out. If you have any suggestions of something different, if I should, do a review of the comics, anything is helpful, starting out. So like, subscribe, tell your friends if you like this. Tell your friends to go watch Guardians of the Galaxy. If you watched it, go watch it again. It's great. Thank you so much for watching. First night at the movies with the Smark Knight. Again, follow me, Twitter, Instagram, H500. Like and subscribe to the page. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, see you for Alien Covenant. Could be good, but Prometheus is any suggestion. It could be a catastrophe, but it's going to be a good catastrophe. So, again, thank you for watching. See you next time.